Hi guys, welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be ranking all the Rush albums. Yeah, not really much to say. Rush, is one of my all-time favorite bands. They're probably my favorite band. They're not the best band in my opinion, but they're my favorite, if that makes sense, because they're two different things. So let's just get started with this list. There are 19 albums. I have no idea how long this video is going to be, and no feedback will not be included on this list because that is an EP and not an album. At number 19, we have Hold Your Fire, which it's still a really good album. There's no bad Rush album. Even this one, number 19, The Worst Spot, is still good. There's songs like Force 10, Time Stand Still, Lock and Key Mission. I love all these songs. Turn the Page is probably my favorite song on this album. It's a really, really good song, and there are a couple others that are like that. Lock and Key, Prime Mover, I love those songs too. The problem with this album is that there's a lot of... I feel like this is the first album. I don't know if they made this with the intention of it being a CD or a vinyl, because it's right around the time where everyone was switching to CD. But I feel like this is the album that they started making CDs for, because there's 10 songs, and Tai Shan and High Water, or Tai Shan and another song off this album, like Open Secrets or Second Nature, would have probably been taken off of this album if it was for vinyl made for a vinyl rather than a CD. So I feel like it does lack a bit because of that, but it still has some really good songs and some classic Rush songs. Number 18 on this list, second to last place, is Roll the Bones. Now, Roll the Bones is, again, not a bad album. There's no bad Rush albums. This one and Hold Your Fire are very close because, pretty much all these albums are, very close to each other. And there are aspects that I like more than each other, even though they're ranked lower because I like this aspect better or this aspect better. So just know that while the gap between 18 and 13 may sound like a lot, they're very close to each other in my eyes. So anyway, Roll the Bones is an album that I feel again has great songs on it. Ghost of a Chance is amazing. I like Neurotica, I like Dreamline, Roll the Bones, Face Up, Where's My Thing. It has pretty good songs. It, again, lacks from a couple of mediocre songs like Big Wheel, or The Big Wheel, Hearsay or whatever. Bravado, I don't actually like that much, even though a lot of fans do, and the band seems to a lot, because they always play it in shows. So yeah, this album's pretty good, but it's not amazing. Number 17 on our list is going to be Presto. Presto it's kind of a weird album. It's the album after Hold Your Fire, where they kind of didn't want to do synths anymore, but they didn't really know what to do with themselves. It's like they kind of made a decision, we're not going to do synths. And then after that, they realized, well, what do we do? So they kind of, I don't know. The production of this album is you can tell, if you just play any song from Presto, you can tell it's from Presto because it has, this production is it's very thin. That's the best word I can describe the production on this album. It's very thin, and it's also a very acoustic album. There's a lot of acoustic guitars more than usual on these songs, which is still good, and I still like a lot of these songs. Show Don't Tell is amazing. Hand Over Fist is pretty good. Presto is really good, the title track. Scars is pretty good. I don't really like Warpaint that much, and I don't love The Pass, even though it's a very serious song and the subject matter, stuff like that. But I think this album has a lot of good songs. I even like Available Light, which, although when I first heard it and it starts with, just the ballady, cheesy ballady, pianos, and I'm like, oh my god, really? But then it actually gets pretty good, and the chorus is really catchy, and the post-chorus and whatever, I don't know the lingo, but it's good. It's a nice song. Red Tide is really good. Superconductor is pretty good. Anagram, I love the lyrics for Anagram. Something fun. You don't see much stuff like that in Rush's discography or any band discography. How many bands can you say made a song with anagrams. Anyway, good album, not amazing. Let's move on. Number 16 on our list is Grace Under Pressure. Now, this album is a step up. I like it quite a bit. There's some really, really good songs on here, like Between the Wheels, The Enemy Within, Kid Gloves, Body Electric. It has some really good songs, and all the other songs are good as well. This is the first album that I can listen to all the way through without being like, maybe I might want to skip this song. And for Holy Fire, that's many songs, but whatever. Like Distant Early Warning is great. After Image is okay, probably my least favorite, but I still like it a lot. Well, not a lot, but I like it. Red Sector A is really good. The Enemy Within is a good time. The Body Electric is good. Kid Gloves is really good. Red Lenses, a lot. I feel like that's the normal worst song on the album for most people, but I actually quite like it. It's a pretty interesting song. Some of it even sounds like David Bowie. I don't know why. Between the Wheels is probably my favorite on this album. It's really, really good. And look at this picture. Look at this goddamn picture. This is the most 80s picture I've ever seen. But yeah, overall, it's a really good album. And even though they were starting to do, like, this album is just where they went full on with the synths. Where, like, signals, moving pictures, still, like, they were kind of leaning towards this direction. But Grace Under Pressure is like, we're all in with the synths. Number 15 is Test for Echo. This album is it's interesting. There are some really, really good songs on here. I love Time and Motion. I love, what else is really good? Test for Echo, the song. Driven is really good. And even, as much as people like to gripe about the lyrics, Virtuality is really, really good. I love the heaviness of the song. But there's some songs that I just don't really like that much. I don't love The Color of Right. I don't love Resist. I know it's kind of a popular song, but I don't really like Resist that much, or The Color of Right is okay. Half the World, while it's good, it's just kind of, the lyric, Test for Echo probably has Neil Peart's worst lyrics, which is still saying something because some of the lyrics on here are still great. But with songs like Virtuality, Half the World, Dog Years, you can tell that it was a different time for him. And it just feels like some songs could, I don't know, a lot of it sounds a bit boring, like they'd already explored this kind of heavy stuff on Counterparts, and they were kind of just like, well, do we do the exact same thing again? And they did, and it didn't fully work as well this time. 14 on our list is Power Windows. This one was kind of low in my original ranking from like years ago. I had this at like number 16 or something. But I actually really like this. It's I love Middletown Dreams. Might be my favorite song off of this album. It's such a good song, and it has Territories is really, really good. The Big Money is one of the nostalgic Rush songs for me. It's a song I really liked in my childhood when I was like 6 or something. Grand Designs is really good. Manhattan Project is really good. Marathon. This is, again, another album where I can listen to the entire thing and not want to skip any of the songs. But even more so because while Grace Under Pressure had After Image, which I would, if I really don't want to listen to that song, I would skip it. But none of these songs I would skip if I was listening to it all the way. It's an amazing album. I love it. Now, at 13th place, we have Snakes and Arrows, which we're moving quite far ahead in this in their discography, but they still made a really good album. I think there's some amazing songs on here like Armor and Sword, Far Cry. What else? There's The Way the Wind Blows is really good. Main Monkey Business is really good. Faithless. It's a good time. And most of the songs, even if they're not really good, they're still quite good. Like Work in the Angels, The Larger Bowl. Spindrift is one of my favorites. Maybe even, probably top 3 on the album. Spindrift is amazing. I know it makes some people feel uneasy, but that's just the nature of the song. That's how they were meant to do. And other songs like We Hold On and Good News First, Bravest Face have kind of darker lyrics. This album in general has some of Neil Peart's most dark lyrics, which is fine. I don't really mind. It's still a really good album. I don't like Hope. I don't like that song. It's really boring in my opinion. Malignant Narcissism is really good too, and yeah, it's a really good album, and it's definitely one of the heavier albums. Number 12 on our list is going to be Vapor Trails. Now, Vapor Trails was their comeback album after like 6 years of no albums, from 2002, and I think this is a really good album. A lot of people would like the remix version more, but I honestly, it's weird to say I grew up because I didn't really grow up with this album. I only found this album like 4 years ago, but I kind of grew up on the original mix, because that's what my parents had, because they bought it when it first came out, and that's what I always listened to. And then the remix, just, I don't know, it sounds too polished. I like what a lot of people dislike about the production on Vapor Trails. Everyone's like, oh, it's too compressed, it's too loud, it's too noisy. But I like that. It's just the nature of of Vapor Trails, I feel like. Maybe that's not what they were going for, but that's what it ended up being, and I really like it. There's some amazing songs like Earthshine, One Little Victory, Freeze is one of my favorites, kind of underrated song. We also got like very underrated songs like The Stars Look Down, Vapor Trail. All the songs are great. Even songs that are less great, like How It Is, Ceiling Unlimited, Peaceable Kingdom, they're still really good. Ghost Rider as well is a really nice song, and this is a really good album and one that I return to quite frequently. Okay, the next album we have on our list is the debut from 1974. This one is this is the first album from the 70s on our list, and it's still really good. I love it. Even though a lot of people don't like it because of the lyrics, which is definitely understandable. They wrote these lyrics in like 2 days because apparently John Rutsey was gonna write all the lyrics, and then he tore them all up like 2 days before they had to go into the studio and record it. So they were like, Getty and Alex were like, oh, whoa, what do we do? And so they just kind of wrote stuff. And yeah, I think this is a really good album, even if the lyrics are below average in terms of Rush. But like, I love Before and After, Working Man, Finding My Way, What You're Doing, even In the Mood is good. Here Again's guitar solo is really, really good. One of my favorites from Alex. Take a Friend is also good, and Need Some Love is good. See, this whole album is good, and I would gladly listen to it again. Although some of these songs I think are better on this. Now, Spotify and iTunes enthusiasts may not recognize this album cover. This is not on iTunes or Spotify, I'm pretty sure. I haven't double checked. But I'm pretty sure it's not on that. And it's basically a concert from like a month or two after Neil joined the band. And it has a bunch of the early stuff. It has Finding My Way, The Best I Can, Need Some Love in the End. It also has a couple of new songs that they wrote that never made it onto albums, along with some covers. Fancy Dancer and Garden Road. I love Fancy Dancer so much. Bad Boy, which is, I don't know it's an old 60s song, but this Rush version is by far the best version. It's so good. There's like a Heartbreaker by Led Zeppelin guitar solo at the end of the song. It sounds really similar to Heartbreaker, and I know Alex was probably thinking that when he was doing it. It has some amazing songs. Need Some Love is actually kind of improved because the fills after each chorus is like Neil Peartified, like instead of whatever the fill is. But so yeah, I like this a lot, and I would recommend it if you can find it on YouTube, because it's probably on YouTube. Now, number 10 on our list is Moving Pictures. Now, I know a lot of you guys are going to be like, what the heck? This is the best Rush album of all time. Oh my god, oh my god, oh my gosh. Well, the thing, I've just heard it too many times. I've heard Tom Sawyer, YYZ, Limelight, Red Bar. I've heard those songs a million times, and after a while, I just don't really care for them that much. I still love those songs, but they're just not. They're like the overplayed Rush songs. The Camera Eye, Witch Hunt, and Vital Signs are excellent. And I still love Tom Sawyer, and I love YYZ, Red Barchetta, and Limelight is pretty good too. But I just have heard this album too many times to put it really high, considering what other albums we're going to look at. But this is still a really good album, don't get me wrong, even though it sounds like I'm making this album worse than it is. It's just because everyone puts this in the top 5, and I'm justifying why it's not anywhere near the top 5, but I still love this album. Number 9 on our list is going to be Counterparts from 1993. This album is some, like, late gold. I don't know how. Like, this album's super good. Like, every single song, besides maybe, like, one of them, is heavy, and it's... Besides a couple songs, the whole album's really heavy, and better than Test for Echo, and it's just... Everything worked on this album. They're trying to go for even less synths than they were on Roll the Bones of Presto, which already had, like, nothing compared to Hold Your Fire. But they still wanted to go with less synths, and that did create a bit of argument between Alex Lifeson and Geddy Lee. But in the end, I think it worked out for the best. They really got back to the roots of, like, heavy. I mean, I don't know if I'd say roots, considering they were never really, like, that. They were, like, hard rock, but they weren't, like, metal-y. This whole album also has really good drum sounds. Like, the drum sound on Anime is very loud and boom, in your face. A lot of these songs also have a really heavy vibe to them. Like, we got Alien Shore, which is pretty heavy. Double Agent is really underrated. Holy, that's a really, really good song. So yeah, that song I love, and it doesn't get enough love. Cold Fire is pretty heavy. On this album, we do start to find a bit more, like, we start to see the roots of the Test for Echo lyrics that were to come on songs like Everyday Glory, Cold Fire, Speed of Love. Song lyrics that they're still good, but they're not, like, when you're talking about Rush lyrics, in terms of Rush lyrics, all those songs are pretty down at the bottom. But I still love this album, and I listen to it a lot, and it's really good. Number 8 on our list is Signals from 1982. This album is really, really good. This is what people start to consider the synth period. I don't really think the synth period started until Aggressor Under Pressure, considering some of these songs don't really incorporate that much synths in it. Like, Digital Man doesn't really have any synths at all until, like, the midway point of the song. And although there's songs like Subdivisions and Countdown, which have a lot of synths in it, I think those songs are more, like, alluding to what the next few albums will be than this is what the new thing will be. Because a lot of these songs, like New World Man, doesn't really have any synths on it that much. And other songs like The Analog Kid, although that has quite a bit of keyboards in the chorus. Besides that, it's still Rush. Like, this is undeniably Rush. Subdivisions is, like, the peak of alienation and just feeling alienated by all your friends, even your friends that you love. You sometimes feel that they don't feel the same way that you feel about them. And just that alienation from the cool kids and the crowd and the, it's like the best anti-rebel song without being like, oh, I'm gonna go break into someone's car and smash a building. It's not like that. It's just like, this is just how suburban life can be for someone who's out of the ordinary. And I can really relate to that. And So, The Weapon is really, really good too. Though I kind of like the live version from Grace Under Pressure, from the Grace Under Pressure tour album more. I also like Countdown a lot. Losing It, as while it's a bit of a cheesy song, the violin is really good. Good job, Ben Mink, the violin player, plays on Losing It. That might be the only time that a guest person appears on a Rush song. I'm probably missing some other obvious. Oh, of course, Time Stands Still. One of the only times that a guest appearance is on a Rush song, which is very cool thing to have. New World Man is not amazing, but I still like it a lot. Chemistry is a really underrated song. This whole album is great. Number 7 on our list is Permanent Waves. This album it's the first. What happened with Hemispheres? They didn't want to do that kind of album again because it was very stressful for them. So what they did is they kind of wanted to stray away from the 20-minute prog epics, stray away from the insanely complex songs, and just make some classic music, some classic rock. And that's exactly what they did. This is probably the most classic rock Rush album. I know Moving Pictures was right over there, and we were thinking, oh, what about Moving Pictures? That's more popular, but these songs just have such a classic vibe to them, and such a, not a positive vibe. It's Entre Nous is a very, heartfelt song, and the lyrics, as I get older, it's, Neil Peart lyrics is sometimes like that, where the more you get older, the more you relate to them and think, wow, that's really meaningful and deep. Different Strings is a very heartfelt song. Jacob's Ladder might be my favorite song on this album, although Natural Science is still absolutely amazing. They still were we don't want to completely stray away from the prog epics, but we're not going to do a 20-minute one. We'll just do a 9-minute one. But yeah, it's still amazing. Natural Science is such a journey, and I love it. Spirit of Radio and Free Will, of course, are the singles. I've heard Free Will a bit too many times. Same thing with Spirit of Radio, but Spirit of Radio is better than Free Will, and for that reason, it has stood the test of time for me more than Free Will or a lot of the songs on Moving Pictures. So yeah, excellent album and excellent songs and just classic. This is peak classic Rush right here. Moving Pictures is where they started to kind of give you the hint that they're gonna go to synths. But this one is just classic Rush at its finest, and that's what I love about it. Number 6 on our list is 2112. Now, this album is, as I was just talking about, the 20-minute prog epic. That's this album. 2112 is such a journey. It's such an interesting song. It has so many different parts and elements and so many different things. If you like Column Rush, there's that. If you like heavy Rush, on the Temples of Syrinx and Presentation and Overture. Column Rush on Discovery, and also kind of Soliloquy and Oracle the Dream. And Grand Finale is a really great finale. It's just really good, and the story is I don't even fully understand the story. I know it's just someone finds a guitar, and they go to tell the Temple of Syrinx, but the Temple of Syrinx doesn't want to hear it because they don't need the music. And then I know there's probably something deeper than that, but I haven't gotten to that yet. But yeah, that song is amazing, and even side 2 is really good. You got A Passage of Bangkok, which is really good. The Twilight Zone is a really creepy song, and it's kind of cool, but it's a bit creepy for Rush, but I still like it a lot. Lessons is a really underrated song. It has such cool guitar solo at the end, and one of the best drum fills from Neil. Tears is a very heartfelt song. I think it's the first song that has keyboards on it from Rush. And Something for Nothing is a really, really good song. That's just class. That's another classic Rush song, but it's heavier, and I love it. And this album is amazing. And honestly, guys, the entire time I've been doing this, I've been staring at this. Why did they decide to make this the picture for the back cover for the album? I mean, I'm not complaining, but what were they thinking? I also have, this is the remastered version, but I also have an original pressing from 1976, which is really cool. I used this one because it's newer and it looks better. But yeah, I have that too, just as a little flex to all you poor people. I'm so sorry. Number 5 on our list is Fly By Night. This album is amazing. It's very, like, the first half is just heavy songs, Anthem, Best I Can, Beneath, Between, Behind, By Two and the Snow Dog. By Two and the Snow Dog is the first glimpse that maybe they're going to do some prog stuff, who knows? And then the second side is like this really kind of mellow, calmer rock with Fly By Night, Making Memories, and Rivendell. Rivendell is probably my least favorite Rush song. I'm just going to say it's just quite boring, and I don't really listen to it at all. A couple times I do. I mean, it's a bit fun to listen to. It's like a bit catchy, but it's like Tai Shan. It's like, it's not good, but it's catchy. And that's why I would ever, and if I ever want to listen to it, it's just because I want to sing along. And I know the lyrics are pretty, the Lord of the Ringsy, I think. I don't know. I haven't really looked into the lyrics because I don't really care about this song. But yeah, it's a really not good song. And then after that we have In the End, which the first 2 minutes of it is very calm acoustic rock, just like the rest of the side too. And then you get to the heavy stuff, and they remind you, hey, we're still a hard rock band, so this is what we do. And I like that side 1 is the heavy stuff, because then all the new people who buy it are like, oh, this is Rush. Like, they hear Fly By Night on the radio, and then they buy and they think, oh, it's going to be more calm, and then they put side 1 on, and they're like, wow, this band is hard and heavy and cool. And then you get the side 2, and it's Fly By Night, and you're like, okay, I know that. And then you get some mellower songs to chill out, because you've had a very eventful first side and with very, like, impactful first side. And then in the end, they go back to the heaviness, and that's what I like about Fly By Night. Number 4 on our list, going into the top 5, is Clockwork Angels. Yes, Clockwork Angels is the 4th best Rush album in my opinion. What a amazing album. This is like their only like concept album, and me being a prog guy, I love my concept albums, and this is no exception. I love it. It's probably their heaviest album too. Even heavier than like Snakes and Arrows and Vapor Trails and Test for Echo and Counterparts. Heavier than all of those, and it's just so good. There's so many amazing songs. Headlong Flight is one of my top 10 or top 15 favorite Rush songs ever. The Garden is really, it makes me cry sometimes, considering it's their last song. I feel like Neil knew it was going to be their last song, and they just needed to have a good ending. Have a meaningful, heartfelt ending, which is the perfect ending for a Rush, for the Rush discography. Clockwork Angels are really good. The Anarchists, Carnies, 7 Cities of Gold is amazing. The Wreckers, I could name every song on this album, and I'd say that they're really good. Except for, of course, BU2B2, which I don't... Why would they do that? Why would they make that? That just ruins the perfect run of songs that I would never skip, and I love each and every one. And then you have BU2B2, which, yeah, it's fine, but it's only a minute long, and you can't really do much with a song that's a minute long. It doesn't have any drums or guitars or bass or anything like that. It's just Geddy singing over the Clockwork Angels string ensemble, which I really like that they added a string ensemble for this, because it makes the album feel much livelier and better. I think these songs would be a bit worse without the orchestra, and I'm glad that they added it. Now, number 3 on our list is Hemispheres. Now, I know what you're thinking. This is not actually the original album cover. This is the 40th, no, it doesn't say it, 40th anniversary edition, which has, of course, the original album, and then also has a bonus concert. And I don't know why I got this, which is Hemispheres The Last Night, because they're literally, this is just, like, highlights from the concert on this thing. This is just highlights. This is not even the whole concert of this one, so I don't really know why I have this, but it was like a rare thing, and I thought, why not get this as kind of a collector's item, because, like, where are you ever going to find this? But yeah, Hemispheres is an amazing album. Singing the Sex 1 Book 2 is, it's such, man, like, I don't even know what to say about it. It's just so interesting. It's such a unique song. It has so many different parts, just like 2112, but it's even more so because of the story and the fact that it's leads off from A Farewell to Kings from Singing Section 1, Book 1. It's just, and it has so many amazing parts, so many amazing hooks and melodies and riffs, but it also keeps things interesting by throwing in some ambience in the middle of it, just to give you a bit of thing to calm down from 10.5 minutes of heaviness and just amazingness. And side 2, Circumstances, is a really good song. The Trees is the big song on this album, and I still really like it. And La Villa Stringato is wow. That song is just, it's like they were like, we need to show everyone how good we are. La Villa Stringato is just one big flex. We're better than you at your instrument, whatever you play. And I condemn them for doing that and making it this good on this actual song-y. Like, they could have easily just had, I feel like this concept could have gone really downhill, but they still made it very musical and very, each part flows through the next, and it just all flows perfectly, and it's great. And it's a nightmare to drum. It's probably the only Rush song that I couldn't drum that I can't drum right now, because I mostly just, I'm kind of good at drums, whatever, it doesn't really matter. But yeah, and the bonus concert, which I don't think we should really talk about, actually, because this is not talking about the 40th anniversary. But yeah, amazing album, amazing songs, and amazing, I forgot to tell the story about La Villa Stringato. I'm going to do that. So, basically, the story with La Villa Stringato is they wanted to do a song like that, and they wanted to originally have it as one complete, they wanted to record everything in one take, all the bass, drums, and guitar, all in one take, all together in one take, but they couldn't do it. They tried for a long time, and they couldn't do it, and they had to split it up into 3 sections, which, considering that's only 3 tracks, and what they could have used 8, I think, at the time, to make one of the most complex songs in music history. So, or in terms of rock, it's one of the most complex songs of rock history. And so the fact that they were still able to do it all together with a couple cuts in between is still amazing. And now we're moving on to number 2, second place, which this one's going to be very controversial. Take Caress of Steel. My God, is this album underrated and amazing. A lot of people will probably put this in the bottom, and I don't know why. It's so good. Actually, I do kind of know why. Bastille Day is a freaking amazing opener. I think Going Bald is really good, even though lyrics, again, are, I don't even know if the lyrics are written by Neil. They might be, but I'm not sure about that one. But it's still amazing. Lakeside Park is a really nice song. It was recently May 24th, and everyone knows that song. Everyone would gather on the 24th of May to sit around and watch the fireworks display. And everyone should have listened to that song about a week ago. I don't know when this is going up. Actually, it's probably going up the day I'm recording it. So, yeah, The Necromancer is an absolutely just a wow, amazing song. And somehow it's not the best on the album. I'm not going to talk about each song really in depth, because otherwise this video would be an hour long, and it's already 30-something minutes long, and I don't want to have it any longer than it already is. But Fountain of Lamnath is in my top 3 favorite Rush songs ever. I know a lot of people, that Fountain of Lamnath is probably the reason why some people can't listen to this album. It's because Fountain of Lamnath. But in my opinion, it's so good, it's so experimental, and I feel like their experimental game was just up here, while everything else is here. They're experimenting on this is up here. Even if this is not the best Rush album, it's the most experimental, and the experiments worked probably the best out of any Rush album. And now we finally come to number 1. The best Rush album is, I don't actually have it, A Farewell to Kings. A process of elimination, you would have already known that. So, Farewell to Kings wins the Rush list. This album is just absolutely insane. It doesn't have a giant 20-minute epic. It doesn't have some underlying concept. it's just a bunch of really, really good prog songs that have really, really good lyrics and really, really intricate playing and really, really good song structures. Farewell of the Kings, the first song, is absolutely amazing. And what they did with some of these songs is they, like with Xanadu and Farewell of the Kings, the beginnings of them, where you hear like bird chirping and stuff, they actually recorded it outside to get that atmosphere, which is really good. And I weird that more artists didn't do that, because it's a really good effect, and I think it's way better than just adding bird chirping sound effects, because then you get the natural sound of nature, which I think is way better than just having automated bird chirpings or whatever. And Xanadu, again, I'm not going to talk about it that much, but Xanadu is my favorite Rush song, and it's so... the build-up is perfect, everything's perfect about that song. There. Close to the Heart is a song that I'm not too fond of. I like it a lot, but I just have heard it again a lot of times, and I don't like it as much because of that. But I still like it a lot. Cinderella Man is amazing. Madrigal is not amazing, but it's still pretty good. But Sing the Sex One, Book 1 is amazing, and its story is amazing, and I love how it leads you on a kind of a cliffhanger into part 2, and they're like, oh, what are we gonna do? What are we gonna do? You don't know what we're gonna do. And then they come back a year later with Hemispheres and just knock it out of the park. So that's my list. This is really long. These videos always take longer than I expected. Some honorable mentions for albums I really like. Live albums I really like. This guy, Exit Stage Left, right here, is an amazing live album. It has, like, a lot of the best versions of songs, or some of them. And then we also have this guy, which I've listened to a lot on this vinyl, because I really like the sound of this vinyl, or sound of this on vinyl. Although, you know what's really weird about this is that side 1, I don't know if it's just a manufacturing thing, but on my vinyls, this is a double vinyl, side 1 and side 4 are on the same disc, and then side 2 and side 3 are on the same disc. Like, what? Why? Why is side 1 and side 4 on the same disc? What is that about? And I don't really know why they decided to do that, but whatever. I still love it. And yeah, this is a really good album too, and I would highly recommend it. And one that I don't have with me is Grace Under Pressure Live, which I love, and it was probably one of the things that got me into Rush, so I would really recommend it if you haven't heard it, or it's been a while since you have heard it. And yeah, I'd like to thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you made it all the way to the end, comment pickles for me. And yeah, like and subscribe. Turn the notification bell on. Please tell me what's your ranking of this of Rush albums. I would love to know. And I'd love to argue about how Caress of Steel is way too high in your opinion. So yeah, post it all in the comments down below. And post suggestions for other videos that I'm always open to ideas. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye!